than 100 years ago. The repatriation comes at a poignant time, just days before the nation commemorates 46 years of independence, adding a deeper meaning to the celebrations. President Emmerson Mnangagwa says that the return of the artifacts and ancestral remains signifies a restoration of identity, dignity, and historical justice.
This is a historic development which will be etched in the rich history of our country. It is opportune that this ceremony is occurring a few days before the 46th Independence Day anniversary. Profound joy and triumphant closure envelop the nation as we welcome home our ancestral relics consisting of the chapungu, being the 8th and the last soapstone great Zimbabwe bird. Congratulations. For far too long, this vital piece of our national soul and dignity resided in a foreign land, a silent testament to the colonial plunder that sought to strip us of our destiny. Our calls for justice have echoed through generations, and today our brothers and sisters of the Republic of South Africa have answered us. We say thank you.
He said his government will ensure that the country's rich heritage is returned home, free from hostage in foreign museums and private galleries.
My government will continue to ensure that Zimbabwe's rich heritage is freed from the hostage in foreign museums, public spaces, and the private galleries. Our forebears did not merely carve these birds as decorations, no. They are sacred and represent the eagle, chapungu, which had deep spiritual significance in our culture, the culture of Monomtapa. There's physical embodiments of the various spiritual beliefs within our communities. The Zimbabwe bird is a central symbol that adorns our flag, coat of arms, and the zig, mali, currency. To have all 8 bird artifacts reunited is a political victory and a cultural homecoming. Congratulations, Zimbabwe.
The head of state further called on the national museums and monuments to ensure that the country's rich heritage is properly preserved.
And therefore, exhort the national museums and the monuments of Zimbabwe to ensure that the sacred bird artifacts are appropriately conserved and protected at the Great Zimbabwe National Monument, the site of their origin and the heart of our country's ancient civilization. Let the people of Zimbabwe come and witness their heritage. Let the children of this great nation see with their own eyes the symbol of their identity.
As the country prepares to celebrate 46 years of independence, the return of the bird and ancestral remains not only connects the nation with its past, but reinforces the enduring relationship between Zimbabwe and South Africa. Olin Ndori, ZBC News, State House.
Now, political editor Bruce Chawanda was also following up on this story, and he tells us about the return of the last Zimbabwe bird, which was taken from the country during the colonial era, and other ancestral remains, which is now a political victory for the country.
It took 137 years for Zimbabwe to receive the stolen bird, which was forced to adopt Cecil John Rhodes' bedroom in South Africa as its home for all these years. The return of the bird is a political victory for the nation and a day of healing, according to Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable Kazembe Kazembe.
The return of the eighth bird sends a powerful message, Your Excellency, that the era of colonial plunder is over. It is our hope that this act of restitution will inspire other nations to return the countless African artifacts still held in their collections. For Zimbabwe, this is a day of healing, a day of pride, and a day of reaffirmation.
South African Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Honorable Gayton Mackenzie, said the gesture is part of reciprocating Zimbabwe's gesture with South African heroes.
Zimbabwe showed us how to do this. In September 2024, your government, Your Excellency, returned some of our most important South African liberation heroes who died in exile on this soil, and you returned them with honor and with love. Amongst the nearly 50 heroes repatriated from Zimbabwe and Zambia were Duma Nokwe, who served as the Secretary General of the ANC from 1958 to 1969.
Senator Chief Ngungubane said this is the right step towards addressing historical imbalances.
The Zimbabwe bird is more than an artifact. It is part of our history, culture, identity, and heritage. Its return, together with the return of our ancestral remains, is a significant act of correcting the injustices of the past in restoring our dignity and the historical restoration ahead of our 46th Independence Day celebration.
As the country celebrates its 46th independence anniversary in Matabeleland South Province a few days' time, there was no better time for the arrival of the bird and 8 ancestral remains. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
The decentralization of hosting national independence celebrations has not only catalyzed rural transformation, but has also brought about massive investment in modern education infrastructure, with Maheche Science Laboratory in Mapisa being an example. We link up with our Matabeleland South Bureau Chief, Providence Maranelli, who has the details. Good evening, Providence.
Yes, good evening, thank you. It's a very good evening here in Mapisa, a calm one with a bit of rains since midday, but the atmosphere is electric. Everyone is now ready for the National Independence celebrations to be held here in 2 days' time. But it's good to recall President Emmerson Mnangagwa, when he kept students at Gwanda State University last year, he tasked the leadership here in Matabeleland South to deal with the issue of science laboratories in schools, in various schools, in rural schools here in Matabeleland South, after noticing only 69 students graduating at that very graduation ceremony at Gwanda State University last year. And as a result, the leadership here made it sure that as independence projects, government is constructing 40 science and computer laboratories across the entire Matabeleland South. And of particular interest is this one here today at Maheche Secondary School, a mere village school that has been transformed from just being a village school into a modern school with science and computer laboratories, various modern classroom blocks. The people of Maheche, when we spoke to them earlier in the day, they had this to say in terms of this massive transformation that has happened at their school.
Especially secondary, sivele singelayo manje isiyisecondary enkulu sesikhalela ukuthi le mfundo layo ibe phezulu, abantwana bengasuki eMaheche primary bebhasile besiyafunda kwezinye izikolo, sesifuna ukuthi bephume eMaheche primary beze eMaheche secondary.
Ngoba isikolo ade vele sizama ngodaka kusehlule, sizama ukufunda lokhuza kusala kodwa ngasibona namhla sokunje sokusalela abantwana bethuthukise phezulu sokubuhle babo thina sabe sisinda ngobulungu laba abangcono basinda ngesameni
ngenela ukahulumende wasenzela isimanga ukuthi manje so sijabulile khona ukuthi angikwazi ukuthi sithathe inhlanselane
wazivaliwe siyavulwa babonke bajabulela ukuthi sonke siye emaheji ngathi bebaleka besiya kubominda gohole shashani ba-expect imaheji at this time ngoba silenani about 100 and something i-secondary but now I'm expecting more ukuthi uhulumende osenzele khona both primary kunotshintsho kakhulu olube khona ngesikhathi esincane.
Now, in pursuit of equitable development, government has decentralized the hosting of national independence celebrations, and this has catalyzed rural transformation through the legacy projects. This is all I have for now. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Providence. That was Providence Maranelli there, who is in Mapisa, who are hosting the 46 celebrations. And meanwhile, as the country celebrates the anticipation this month, it is a time to reflect on the impact of a regional collaboration in the successful execution of Zimbabwe's struggle for independence. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe, speaks to former ZIPRA commander, Colonel retired Watson Chipa, who contends the region played a key role in assisting Zimbabwe's war cadres during the armed struggle.
This is Plumtree Railway Station in Matabeleland South. Many cadres pass through this place on the way to Botswana en route to Black Africa, that is Zambia, Tanzania, and other countries, to seek for freedom. They wanted to go and participate in the struggle to emancipate their dear motherland, Zimbabwe. The border between Botswana and Zimbabwe had a very long stretch of no man's land, and many people could have perished there. Rhodesians knew that there was something happening, and they sometimes waited here at the Plumtree railway station and pulled the people from the railway, from the train, and some were never to be seen. Lest we forget, Plumtree should be celebrated as a valve of many young people who were coming from the hinterland inside the country to go and join the armed struggle. This is now the mainland after leaving the then border post over there. That is where the Zimbabwean immigration or the Rhodesian immigration then was. So this was the route. Where I am now is the no man's land. And lest people forget, many people could have perished in these bushes as they were on their way to Botswana. The Zimbabwe People's Revolutionary Armies, ZIPRA, we managed to catch up with one of the commanders during the war, better known as Comrade Chipa or John Nyampingeza.
The Rhodesians believed that our guerrillas were going into there. So when the Botswanians tried to advance, the Rhodesians shot them, yes. And that was the accident, because only the guerrillas had gone through, but the guerrillas hadn't gone through into Botswana. They went in and turned back into Rhodesia.
And
that was in my sector.
That is the Lesoma
battle
incident, yes.
In the later days, that were crossing in the swamp at this level with the caches and everything. So the Rhodesians would not manage to penetrate
the swamps.
The swamp, because it was a big swamp and it stretched all the way to Botswana.
That is the swamp for liberation.
Yes, exactly.
This is the Kazungula ferry at the crossing point between Botswana and Zambia. Many leaders use this ferry into Zambia, just across the river. The late Zambian president used to sing Tioloke Zambezi Ndimtima Omozi, meaning we will cross the Zambezi with one spirit to liberate Southern Africa. Many leaders, you talk of the late Samora Moises Machel, Sam Nyoma, Hage Geingob, Hifike Punye Pohamba, all used this ferry to cross into Zambia to go and prosecute the armed national struggle. Ironically, the Rhodesians knew about it. They once blew this ferry and it sank in the Zambezi. The South Africans, because they were claiming also this little piece of land as Namibia, also attacked this ferry because they knew it was a conduit of freedom fighters. So we are standing here at the vantage point, which has a lot of history. Crossing the Zambezi was the surest way to put the Rhodesian on notice. And surely they were put on notice. This ferry has a lot of history. It carried many freedom fighters from Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia, into Zambia to go and arrange and prosecute the armed national struggle. So as we celebrate Zimbabwe's independence in a few days' time, lest we forget that many might have perished in this river, crossing the Zambezi. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News.
Let's now take a look at other news. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sworn in the new Minister of Lands and Rural Development, that is Honorable Vangelis Haritatos, as well as the commissioners of the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission.
And whereas the President has duly appointed you, Vangelis Peter Haritatos, as Minister of Government.
I, Vangelis Peter Haritatos, swear that I will be faithful to Zimbabwe and in the office of Minister.
This Wednesday, the President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, swore in the newly appointed Minister of Lands and Rural Development, Honorable Vangelis Haritatos, at State House. This follows the demerger with the Ministry of Agriculture being led by Dr. Anxious Masuka. Honorable Haritatos says the aim of his portfolio is to ensure land development as well as the successful implementation of the presidential title deeds, which are a key cornerstone of the rural development agenda.
We need to move our farmers towards the new title deed, which is the end story. We need to incentivize our farmers. We need to sit down as a ministry to ensure that the land now moves away from being an offer letter to being a title deed that is bankable, a title deed that is transferable, a title deed that one can use as collateral to be able to access limited resources that are already there so that they can ensure, as I mentioned, that production and productivity is at the forefront of you owning a piece of agricultural land. Then moving from there, we will be looking at rural development, which is a very exciting arm of the ministry. Rural development, as you all know, was started with the vision of His Excellency, who gave us, through the Minister Masuka, the guidance to ensure that we have 35,000 balls in Zimbabwe. Through our policy, we went on to move that to targeting 35,000 village business units. So this is going to be at the forefront.
The President also swore in a tribunal to look into High Court Judge Justice Neva Katillo. Retired Judge Justice Mafios Cheda was appointed chair of this tribunal.
The tribunal aims to investigate the alleged wrongdoings by the Honorable Judge Katillo. We have been appointed, three of us, as a tribunal, as a commission, to sit and try to investigate and find out whether the allegations being made against him are true or false. And thereafter, we'll submit our report to His Excellency because it is his tribunal, and the report goes to him.
Commissioners to the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission were also sworn in by the President at State House. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe is accelerating efforts to consolidate its position in the global chromium value chain, with Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga saying that the country is aligning mining incentives with energy investments to drive industrialization. This emerged at the second Africa Chromium Week in Victoria Falls, which was hosted by the International Chromium Development Association.
When government reinstated the chrome export ore ban in the year 2022, critics questioned Zimbabwe's smelting capacity and power supply. However, the Second Republic did not retreat. Instead, it invested and scaled capacity, And today, Zimbabwe operates 17 ferrochrome smelters, with exports for the year 2025 reaching 433 metric tons, reflecting a 19% year-on-year growth. Riding on this trajectory to build an integrated industrial ecosystem anchored on beneficiation and innovation, Vice President General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga says government policy is now deliberately structured to support this transition.
Zimbabwe offers a clear value proposition, resource certainty, and a government fully committed to value addition and industrial transformation. The opportunity before us is immediate and scalable. To deploy capital into beneficiation, to co-develop energy solutions, to establish downstream industries, and embed innovation across the Chromium value chain.
The Vice President further outlined how the country is building a new energy architecture to underpin a new industrial Zimbabwe.
The electricity tariffs to ferrochrome producers during this transition period, while mandating captive power development, we are actually saying to companies, develop your own captive power. Excess, yes, sell it to the national grid. Together with the industry, we must work together to make sure that power energy as an enabler is made readily available. Let me highlight that the government's policy is straightforward. Chrome smelters that invest in their own captive power will receive commensurate mining titles and fiscal support. We are building a new energy architecture to underpin a new industrial Zimbabwe.
The Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Engineer Polite Kambamura, says while the fundamentals are strong, unlocking full value will require closing the gap between capacity and output.
Our chromite ore is exceptionally of high quality, averaging 40 to 55% chromium oxide with a chromium to iron ratio of 2.5 to 1, placing it among one of the best globally. Yet, despite this resource base and growing output, smelter capacity and actual production is still around 68%. This gap between our installed capacity and actual production is where focused policy, strategic investment, and strong partnerships must converge to unlock full value.
The president of the International Chromium Development Association adds that regional economic blocs can play a pivotal role in coordinating industrial development and strengthening intra-African value chains.
What is essential for industries to thrive and to develop would be logistics, connectivity, and also access to reliable energy.
The momentum for this industrial shift received a significant legislative boost this Tuesday as Cabinet officially approved the minerals value chain from mining to beneficiation, industrialization and exploitation framework. Yolande Moyo, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
Zimbabwe and Tanzania are moving to strengthen economic cooperation with renewed focus on trade, investment and regional integration after a high-level diplomatic engagement which happened in Harare.
Tanzania's top envoy to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Suzanne Salome Kagande, paid a courtesy call on Vice President Colonel retired Dr. Kembo Mohade this Wednesday, during which the two sides reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening economic cooperation. The discussions focused on enhancing bilateral trade through expanded collaboration in key sectors, including trade, tourism, mining, and agriculture.
Among the issues that we touched and he emphasized on is our Joint Permanent Commission cooperation meeting, knowing that we have our bilateral cooperation, Zimbabwe and Tanzania. But issues of trade, issues to do with tourism promotion among our two countries. And as we all understand, in implementing our bilateral cooperation, we have started a direct flight from Tanzania to Victoria Falls. This is just a way of enhancing our tourism, but also trade.
The ambassador highlighted concerns over low trade volumes between the two countries, despite existing cooperation frameworks and investment linkages.
We need to do more in terms of our business peoples, but also investing. As you understand, Zimbabwe uses our port of Dar es Salaam, especially on transporting vehicles, but we don't see much on materials and goods. But we have investors of Zimbabwe. We have SADCO. It's a Zimbabwe company in seeds which have invested in Tanzania. So we need to look and see more in agriculture, but also in mining and exchange to increase the volumes of our trades.
The renewed engagement is expected to pave the way for expanded economic cooperation and increased trade exchanges between Zimbabwe and Tanzania in the coming period. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
The recent directive to ensure value addition and beneficiation of all minerals is expected to trigger massive employment opportunities, feeding straight into the country's industrialization agenda.
Through various economic blueprints, including the National Development Strategy 2, government has demonstrated commitment to the industrialization agenda. As such, the recent ban on raw mineral exports is expected to see beneficiation centers being established, hence creating employment opportunities for Zimbabweans. Deputy Chief Secretary, Presidential Communications in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Mr. George Charamba, said the policy direction has curtailed the export of jobs.
We have disallowed mineral ores from being sent abroad in their raw form. What that means is, impliedly, we have insisted that those minerals must be processed at home. But once they are processed, that's not the end result. We want now to see how that processed product feeds into our industrial and industrialization ambition as a nation, which means in respect of practically every mineral, we must have a value addition chain which translates into an industry. Once you look at the transformation from mineral ore to an industry, you are now restoring that much needed and much missing nexus between mining and industrialization. So that new policy which government has just announced is very, very important for this country. It ensures that we get better returns. It ensures that we restructure the whole economy away from primary to a tertiary level. It ensures that we have quality jobs. Because as you move up the value chain, it means there must be a skills upgrade.
Mr. Charamba noted that raw mineral exports would prejudice Zimbabwe of revenue from other minerals.
Geologically, Zimbabwe is in a unique position where you never have any one mineral existing singly. All our minerals are always coextensive in a mineral ore body, which means you find your gold, you find your silver, you find your iron, you find your aluminium, you find your lithium in this one ore body. Now, when you send your resources in that unprocessed way, what it means is beyond the jurisdiction of Zimbabwe, the receiving jurisdiction then separates and ends up having more than 3, 4, 5 minerals out of the same ore body. And that way, we are being prejudiced in respect of a finite resource.
Government has identified the informal sector as a critical player in the economic transformation of the country.
If you have an informal sector in any economy, it means there is someone who has found a niche which they are exploiting to provide a service. So you can't then criminalize it. I'm so happy that this time around government has come out very, very clear to say the informal sector is a legitimate player.
And with all that is happening around mining, around iron and steel, around our cotton, I see that informal sector burgeoning. The key thing being that fiscally, we must devise ways of taxing it.
The ban on raw mineral exports was effected last month, and it includes lithium concentrate, which is on high demand on the international automobile market. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, Harare.
The ZANU-PF Secretary for Information and Publicity, Ambassador Christopher Muchangwa, says the ruling party is confident that the constitutional amendment number 3 bill will sail through Parliament following the positive feedback from the recently ended public consultations. Now, Ambassador Muchangwa was speaking at a press conference held at the party's headquarters.
The consultations of the constitutional amendment bill have affirmed the people's wish, as expressed in the resolutions of the party, that the presidency rule must extend it to 2030. So, if you have had ambitions as a faction or whoever of trying to take over from him, just wait for 2030. It will come. It will not be removed from the calendar of Zimbabwe. It will still be there. And if you're a member of the party, just make sure that you maintain your standing in the party with the membership in good state, so that your candidates come 2030 can enjoy the support which it should. But don't try to make noises now, between now and 2030, because that door is going to be closed. We have not wanted as a party to officially to talk too much about constitutional amendment bill. We have a team, our commissariat department, our administrative department. They are part of the consultations of Parliament. We respect the consultations of Parliament. So we are participating at that level. So there's no particular need at this stage for the president, or indeed for even myself, to continue to talk about this issue, because it's something which is in the process.
That was Ambassador Muchangwa speaking on the constitutional amendment number 3 bill. Meanwhile, Mugodi Apostolic Sect has also endorsed the proposed legislative changes.
The Mugodi Apostolic Sect has endorsed the constitutional amendment number 3 bill, saying the legislative amendment will bolster the nation's governance structures while also enhancing the country's democratic framework.
Members of the Apostolic Sect pledged their support at the annual Bibi Passover ceremony held at the church shrine in Chitope Weather this Tuesday.
Women empowerment yatikona ari kuitwa munyika yese saka tikutenderana nekuti president ngavarambe vachitonga saka ndoda kutsvigirairo saka yakandinakira uye yakandikoshera chauda kuti nyika yedu igone kubudirira.
The church's leadership begged the bill, citing its potential to refine the country's legal and administrative framework.
Bill riri kweri tisu takarikumbira. Pane zvikumbiro zvedu zvatakati chikumbira kubva pese pekutanga taichishuwira kuti awedzerwa nguva yekubate basa inova ndo chirongwa chakabuda nebill chatiri kutsigira zvakanyanyisa.
Presidential Investment and Empowerment Advisor Dr. Paul Tugarara said the church's views reflect a broader consensus from religious organizations and various stakeholders on how the proposed legislative amendment will continue to propel the country on a positive development trajectory.
This bill is going to help our country to develop. I believe that mutori nema blessings ari mubill irori. Ndosaka muri kuona nyika yese Zimbabwe yese iri kuti vamunanga gonga vapese basa ravo. Ngati vapese extra years dzavo ngati amendei.
Parliament recently concluded public hearings on constitutional amendment number 3 bill, which saw the public submitting their oral and written input on the legislative amendment. The bill will now be tabled for debate in the National Assembly. John Nandara, ZBC News, Weather.
Still talking about the Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill, the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs says consultations have so far been successful, with criticism of the process largely stemming from political differences rather than procedural shortcomings.
Following public consultations on the Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill that were conducted early this month, the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs is looking forward to producing a comprehensive report that accurately reflects the views gathered from the public. This was reviewed by the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee Chairperson on Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Edson Robgo Jr. during an engagement meeting with journalists in Masvingo.
Look, the Constitution amendment process, in my view, has been successful so far. What is left is for, after the public consultations, is now for us to compile the responses. The deadline has not yet been completed for the submission of consultations. And once that is done, we must present our report to Parliament. The reason for that is that it provides parliamentarians from both parties, from all sides, the information required for them to debate the issues raised by the Zimbabwean people.
Honorable Zobgo took the opportunity to clarify some misconceptions surrounding the exercise.
We have tried our best in every way to follow the constitutional process as required by the Constitution of Zimbabwe.
For the media, the engagement was necessary for clarification of the consultation process and the next stage.
It was important for the chairperson to unpack it, to talk about it, to give an overview, so that the journalists who write stories to break down and make sure that it becomes clear to the ordinary people that get information.
We feel that as the media, it will be prudent to have an opportunity like this to hear it from the host's mouth, so that in the discharge of our duties, we do so from a factual standpoint.
The Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill seeks, among other provisions, to extend the electoral cycle from 5 to 7 years, increase the number of senators from 80 to 90, and allow traditional leaders to engage in politics. Ms. Matina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
The country continues to scale up investments in energy infrastructure as part of efforts to unlock provincial economic potential. Power generation has been identified as a critical enabler of industrialization and inclusive growth. Our reporter Wellington Makonese was part of a tour of the Kwekwe Global Power Station, which is currently under construction as part of the efforts to increase national power generation.
As Zimbabwe continues to build resilient provincial economies, the energy sector has emerged as the backbone of that transformation. Increased generation is the current reality underpinning industrial recovery and fresh investments across the regions in the country. Now plans are being actioned right here in Kwekwe for a 70-megawatt thermal power plant alongside an additional 100-megawatt facility within the district that is leveraging on coal from nearby deposits to power industry and communities. Permanent Secretary for Presidential Affairs and Devolution in the Office of President and Cabinet, Engineer Tafadzwa Mguti, led a delegation on a tour of Kwekwe Global Union Thermal Power Plant that is under construction.
Right here in Kwekwe, we are having Zimbabwe's first, most efficient technology being built, which is a power station which uses 90% less water than the conventional one. Energy is not only going to be sourced from Hwange. With the devolved matter agenda that we have, we are seeing that, for example, right now, anyone who's building a chrome plant in the provinces, we have directed all provincial governments to ensure that those people also build power plants. So just right here in Kwekwe, we are witnessing 70 megawatts power plant, a thermal power plant, which is going to be built. And obviously, we are looking at transporting coal from Sengwa to power those power plants. We are also looking at building a further 100 megawatts power plant again within the same district.
The investments in the province are expected to transform the national and provincial gross domestic product GDP while uplifting livelihoods through employment creation.
Paita company ino munzvimbo mangu muno zvapa isusuru remekedzo kokutanga because dzimwe nguva maishamisika kuti ko madzimambo anodei kumtown zvinhu zvekutaun but His Excellency the President vanoinvolva munhu wese.
We are quite happy with what His Excellency has done to lure the investors into this country so that they assist us in achieving our provincial economic development plans and eventually our NDS2.
With a multi-million-dollar investment drive and an open-door policy for the private sector, projects like the Kwekwe Global Union Thermal Power Station are more than just utilities. These are the powerhouses closing the deficit, fortifying provincial growth, and fueling Zimbabwe's industrial future. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
Remember, for these and other stories, you can log on to our website, www.zbcnews.co.zw, and we also look forward to interact with you on our social media.
Yes, you can do that via our X handle, Facebook page, as well as a YouTube channel, or under the banner ZBC News Online.
And still ahead on the main news. Government satisfied with the tobacco pricing matrix at auction and contract floors.
We'll also be giving you sports news where Scotland is bracing for the Highlanders test in the 2026 Independence Cup final. Well, the main news takes a short break. Stay with us.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is pleased to advise the public that the upgraded Big 5 ZiG banknotes are now in circulation, effective 7 April 2026. The new Big 5 ZiG banknote series has been distributed across the country in sufficient quantities to meet anticipated cash demand. The rollout begins with 10 ZiG, 20 ZiG, and the new 50 ZiG note. The 100 ZiG and 200 ZiG will be introduced gradually. 1 ZiG, 2 ZiG and 5 ZiG coins remain in circulation, and the previous ZiG banknotes will continue to circulate alongside the upgraded Big 5 ZiG notes. They will gradually be phased out. The upgraded ZiG banknotes are available through banks, ATMs, and HomeLink kiosks nationwide. Let's embrace and use the upgraded Big 5 ZiG banknotes with pride and confidence. ZiG. Stable, secure, sustainable.
Welcome to a decade of innovation, a legacy of trust, as Oxford Properties celebrates 10 years of excellence, from the success of Aspendale Park to our newest vision. We invite you to discover Borrowdale Park. Experience premium stands ranging from 400 to 800 square meters, with flexible payment plans designed for your future. Perfectly situated less than 5 kilometers from Sam Levy's village, this is where convenience meets sophistication. This is a complete lifestyle sanctuary, a secure, gated community featuring on-site schools, a medical clinic, and a modern shopping mall. From our dynamic business park to paved wellness trails and dedicated sports facilities, every detail, including a dedicated fire station, is built into the heart of the community. With title deeds guaranteed and professionally designed house plans ready for you, your peace of mind is our priority. Borrowdale Park. Designed for living.
The Zimbabwe International Trade Fair 2026 is here. It's Zimbabwe's premium platform for trade, innovation, and building global connections. For more than half a century, the ZITF show has been at the heart of innovation and integration of ideas behind Zimbabwe's industrialization and economic growth. At ZITF 2026, we take this a step further, positioning local, regional, and international businesses for global integration, driving Zimbabwe and Africa's transformation. Be a part of the journey to unlocking local, continental, and global opportunities at ZITF 2026 from the 20th to the 25th of April 2026 in Bulawayo. Register today and unleash your business growth. ZITF 2026. Connected economies, competitive industries.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe would like to warn all motorists to avoid speeding at all times. Speeding can cause premature death and death to innocent lives. Do not be tempted by others to race because speeding kills. Do not drink and drive, as this can also lead to speeding, and this is hazardous to life. This message was brought to you by the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the main news. The government has expressed satisfaction with the tobacco quality and pricing matrix at auction and contract floors, saying that farmers should take advantage of the situation to sell their golden leaf.
As the 2026 tobacco marketing season reaches its peak, this Wednesday, the Minister of Agriculture, Mechanization, Water Resources and Development, Dr. Anjas Masuka, toured contract and auction floors here in Harare to get first-hand information on the prevailing market trends in the tobacco industry. At this new ethical sales floor, Dr. Anjas Masuka noted the substantial improvements in the quality and prices of the golden leaf, which showed that the market forces are working effectively for the benefit of the farmer.
Today's tour was motivated by government's concern at the lower prices that are being offered at both contract and auction floors compared to last year. Although we are selling lower leaf, the prices are beginning to increase, to appreciate. The gap between the auction and contract remains, and we expect that to close. Farmers that we interviewed during the tour of these auction floors by the Minister of Agriculture expressed dissatisfaction over the new pricing matrices that are now prevailing at the auction floors.
Highest price yangu yashuka 490. Average price ma 380. Koja yangu imwatengwa 495, 460, 420. Zvavazvafadza munhu wese.
Another key takeaway from Minister Masuka's tour of the tobacco floors is that government is finalizing the long-awaited afforestation fund that is expected to empower farmers to move away from the use of firewood and adopting new tobacco curing technologies, which produces high-quality tobacco that is on demand on the international market. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, the government says the blockchain-based National Carbon Registry, launched in May of last year, has courted significant investment appetite with at least 190 confirmed projects. Now, the registry for carbon credit trading was implemented to enhance transparency as well as traceability, aiming to be a catalyst for the $20 billion United States in investment over the next 3 years. Now, the Director of Climate Change Management in the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Wildlife, that is Mr. Washington Jakata, noted that carbon credit tracing as well as trading is critical for unlocking investment and accelerating climate finance and driving sustainable development. He speaks to our investigative editor, Theophilus Chuma, in the following report.
We have seen quite a lot of interest in carbon trading in Zimbabwe, particularly as an initial phase in the forestry area, afforestation, reforestation projects. And now coming on board the waste to energy projects as well, which we've seen being registered. Currently, we have over 190 project developers who are now registered with the Carbon Markets Authority digital platform.
Now I'm looking at the impact of carbon trading and how it will then assist in terms of meeting the targets to reduce carbon emissions. Are you looking at revising the figures since implementing this initiative?
We envisage a situation whereby, as we do revisions of our targets, because we've got an exercise that is ongoing to see where we are in terms of emissions, where we are coming from with a baseline of 2017, and now where are we, and what is carbon dioxide going to contribute towards this. We will see that there will be quite a big percentage of emission reduction.
Then let's look at how much you are expecting to generate from the sale of the carbon credits and how this will then assist in terms of domestic resource mobilization towards climate financing programs.
We are looking at generating quite substantive revenue for the communities. Yes, carbon trading, we have just started. We have been building, at the same time implementing this carbon trading. We are now getting to the level now where we shall be starting to trade very soon. We envisage a situation where the country will be benefiting significantly, depending on the numbers in terms of the millions of tons of carbon dioxide that we save in the atmosphere.
Communities in Makoni District, Manicaland Province are set to benefit from the Samuel Undong Rural Development Project, which is being implemented by the government in partnership with South Korea.
Following an investment of $2 million United States by the South Korean government, the Samuel Undong Rural Development Project is set to run until 2031, targeting 5 villages within Makoni District to foster self-sufficiency and community-led growth. As the project gears up for its multi-year rollout, beneficiaries say they will no longer be spectators of development, but primary drivers.
Kubudirira zvekubudirira zviya ndaona chichindibatsira kuti tisumuke patange takasarira tikwanise kuita ma-projects anotibatsira kuti tisumukewo.
Chirongwa cheSamuel Undong chatibatsira ku-alleviate poverty.
The project is based on the South Korean Samuel Undong concept, which is a developmental philosophy credited with transforming that country from a war-torn nation into a global economic powerhouse.
My country was not always a rich country. Not long ago, our grandparents lived in small mud-walled houses. They struggled with poverty. They walked long distances for water, just for water. Through the spirit of diligence, self-help, and cooperation, they changed their small villages and eventually their country.
The program is set to focus on infrastructure development, agricultural projects, and skills training.
This rural modernization initiative was designed to modernize the rural economy, reduce poverty, and promote self-help.
Through empowering grassroots communities in Makoni, the initiative aims to create a blueprint for rural transformation that can be replicated across the country.
This initiative is firmly anchored under the visionary leader of His Excellency Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, whose development philosophy emphasizes inclusive growth, modernization, and industrialization.
Meanwhile, the program is also set to act as a functional bridge between local community efforts and Zimbabwe's broader Rural Development 8.0 and National Development Strategy 2 frameworks. Its alignment with the National Agricultural Strategy focuses on moving away from subsistence farming towards a business-minded approach. Geima Tambo, ZBC News, Makoni.
The church continues to play a significant role in community development, with the Joanne Masowe Chishano this Wednesday taking part in the Amai's traditional cookout competition at the Zimbabwe grounds in Harare. Memory Chamisa reports.
What started as a local initiative in 2019 has become a nationally transformative program that is contributing to tourism development and cultural preservation. The First Lady's My Cookout competition has seen communities coming together and becoming a favorite for participants who are now bringing out their various cuisine and mouth-watering dishes.
Ndawana mukana wakanaka kuti ndigone kusimudzirwa namai vangu kuti ndigone kuziva kunyange nemhuri yangu ichadya chikafu chine utano hwakanaka.
Zvimwe tinenge tichitaura kutsema like ufuwe zviyo izwa wacho but tazodzidza kuti ndiwo ufu chaiyo uno uri good for health.
Zvinhu zvatinakidza kuti sisu wose vanhurume tinge tichipatisipera tichidzidzawo tichifundawo kuti ngatipinde mazviri izvozvo so that kana kumba tiri kumba togona kubikira mhuri yedu isusu.
The coming on board of the apostolic sect has shown the impact of the traditional cookout competition and inclusivity.
Taona kuti chirongwa chakanaka zvikuru chinotikurudzira kudzokera mukudya chikafu chedu chechinyakare chinovaka utano.
What it means about cooking your own food and what it means about introducing your own culture, your own heritage to your people is also seen as seen the First Lady being honored by UNESCO itself about bringing back culture and heritage to the people of Zimbabwe, to our own country. Now bringing in the churches into these competitions, we are looking for unifying our country as a society.
As the build-up to the finals heightens, under the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa's patronage, the gastronomy tourism program continues to expand internationally. A permanent gastronomy restaurant was established at the Food and Agriculture Organization headquarters in Rome last year. The Zimbabwean Lounge serves as a high-level venue for showcasing the country's agricultural products, tourism and food heritage. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
We now take a quick break. Stay with us.
The 2026 edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF, is here. The City of Kings, Bulawayo, will come alive from the 20th to the 25th of April as the annual International Expo takes center stage under the theme, Connected Economies, Competitive Industries.
Don't miss this exceptional opportunity to showcase your brand to Zimbabwe and the rest of the world through ZBC TV, digital, and radio platforms. For exciting advertising packages, contact Robson on 0716 484 712, Clarice on 0712 842 138, or email marketing@zbc.co.zw.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Nosiko misplaced her driver's license again, so she can sit pretty as #passenger princess.
In my pinky, right, baby?
If smart choices mean a great deal to you, box clever with the Rapster in original, dunked, or the new barbecue. Genius.
The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe would like to advise motorists to avoid traveling at night because of the dangers that come with the territory, from drunk drivers to robbers waiting on unsuspecting motorists at strategic places. Motorists are also advised to remember to dip their lights when passing oncoming traffic. Please ensure your tail lights are working and avoid getting hit from behind by other vehicles on the road. Remember, life is precious, so exercise caution when driving at night. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, keeping Zimbabwe's roads safe.
School's out, fun's in, adventure's on, homework done, and holiday mode is activated.
Let's hop to it.
And he scores! There's a
This is your time. Holiday mode activated. Get and stay connected to DSTV and choose from a world of amazing kids entertainment.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Welcome back. We now look at arts, where the 11th edition of the Shangamire Hip Hop Festival Awards is set to take center stage on the 28th of this month in Harare, promising a vibrant celebration of music, culture, as well as influence within Zimbabwe's hip hop landscape. Runner Rules leads the nominations pack after dominating the airways over the past year. Blink 4 is another name with his hit Pa Harare having resonated strongly with fans, gaining traction on the streets and on digital platforms. Saint Flo, Volts JT and Young Gemini also remain strong contenders, continuing to shape the sound of contemporary Zimbabwean hip-hop.
The idea behind is to just encourage the artists so that they can, work more and look towards something in terms of just building that competitiveness, just so that we have more excellent music coming to the people and premium entertainment just getting towards the people, So we are looking at this year, and this year we have 3 artists that have topped the charts. And we are talking about Rana Ruz, who has 10 nominations. We have Saint Flo, who's got 8 nominations. We have Blink 4, who has 9 nominations. And these nominations are coming from categories like Best Male, Song of the Year, Hip Hop Video of the Year, and the People's Choice. The other thing that we are proud of when it comes to this edition is how the females have now entered the genre. We've got now new females like Yadis, Million Guab.
Let's take another short break. We look at sport thereafter.
This is Isaac, a farmer who is mastering his hustle for global success. Behind Isaac's hustle is the company Cicada that got financing from the European Investment Bank and access to markets through the European Union Zimbabwe Trade Agreement. He passes what he has learnt on to others. His journey shows how far dedication can go. Bigger harvests, more income, and new markets for him. One seed, one dream, a world of possibilities.
Welcome back. We now take a look at our sports news, where more than 40 professional golfers are taking part in the President's Cup Golf Tournament at the Bulawayo Country Club Golf Course. We get the details in the following report.
The President's Cup Golf Tournament teed off yesterday with 48 professional golfers taking to the Bulawayo Country Club. With me here is Ephraim Mashinga, is one of the organizers, to shed more light on what to expect in this golf tournament that is set to run up until Friday.
We are seeing a very good event here at Bulawayo Country Club, where the tournament teed off yesterday. We had 48 professional golfers taking to the course, and today they are joined by amateurs who are also going to try and weigh and see how the professionals are playing and compare with their shots on the golf course.
What can we expect in terms of incentives, monetary prizes?
The professional golfers will be playing for $40,000 US dollars for the 3 rounds, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And also the amateur golfers will be playing for the usual prizes that they'll have. But obviously, this is a very good event.
The vision for our President's Cup, the whole idea was to try and get young kids to put them on a growth of our Zimbabwe talent in the golf sector, and also the big part of it, we saw that the talent of golf is not mainly picked from town. So we introduced what you call rural golf development, so that we can reach out into rural areas.
The President's Cup golf tournament is expected to be officially opened by the head of state and commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defence Forces, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, on Friday. Golfers from this particular tournament are going to be proceeding to Mapisa to join the independence festivities. Mthokozi Stube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Castle Lager Premier Soccer League champions Scotland have renewed their partnership with IMC Communications as the Mavuko-based side intensifies preparations for their maiden appearance in the CAF Champions League.
Elsewhere, Zimbabwe has named a strong team for the 17th Africa Aquatics Championships set for Algeria next month. Now, the record-breaking swimmer, Paige van der, will captain the women's team, bringing experience and momentum after setting a new national record in the 50 meters freestyle. Now she leads a talented squad that includes Anje van Es, Michaela Makwarabara, Alexis Johansson and Nima Bulabai, who have shown promise on the regional stage. And this is now on the men's side. Paul Mwipikeni will lead the team, which also features Ashley Berejena, Tick Watson, Connor Gritz, as well as Musawake Ngube. Now the championships, which were initially scheduled to be held in Ghana before being moved to Algeria, will run from the 5th to the 10th of May. Now coach Chido Mwachema will guide Zimbabwe's team. Well, that's all we had today in our sports news. Let's now take a look at the weather. Today, but we do know it has been
absolute pleasure to be with you this evening here on the main news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Mona Lisa Dube.
And my name is Malvin Matava. Noble Maungwa was interpreting our bulletin in sign language, not forgetting the entire crew behind the scenes. From us right here on main news, have a good night.